I'm doing a quick little video today on the tonals that Spunky Eclectic is doing. And there's this whole big set, and head down to the blog post and I'll show the whole set there. But what I wanted to do is give some ideas for spinning and what my ideas were in creating that set of colors. So let me just pull up a chair. Okay, so this is a piece of the fiber that I left because I'll just keep it as a sample forever and ever with the yarn that I made. And you can see that there's a bunch of different color variations in it. There's some light spots, some white spots, some deeper red, oranges, all, you know, different shades of reds, oranges, and some golden yellows. The idea behind that was so that you could choose how you wanted to blend it in. And I did 2 samples from, this is just a piece of fiber that was left over from these samples. It was about 6 ounces altogether dyed. And I did these 2 samples. Now, if you just look at them like this, they don't look too drastically different from one another. Kinda. I mean, to me, obviously, this is a single and this is a 2-ply, and so, you know, this one is about DK worsted weight and this one's bulky weight. All of that, you can see those differences, but color-wise is what I'm talking about here. Not necessarily just spinning, but color-wise. And what happens when you spin them in 2 different ways. So, even though they don't look too different in this bunch, I wanted to pull them out like this. If you started working with them, knitting with them, they're going to be very different. So this is this one, and this is this one. They come out looking pretty different. So let me tell you what I did with this guy right here, the singles. I just took that bunch of comb tops that I had, about 3 ounces for this one, and didn't split it, just started spinning straight off. No splitting, no pre-drafting, just spin into a standalone single. And that's what I did here, and you can see the colors stayed pretty drastically different. There's, you know, little spots of the reddy orange here, or there's deeper reds in parts of it. The reason that it came out like that is because that's how this is. So you can see that by spinning this, you know, you're going to get mostly all this deeper red-orange color, and then maybe a splotch of the lighter color. And on into some of the lighter bits that has a splotch of the deeper red-orange color. So it's more distinct. The colors stay more obvious when you don't split it up and I'm spinning a single. Even if I did some plying with it, or Navajo plying, any of those options, just spinning straight from the top without, you know, splitting it down real fine, then the colors are going to be a little bit different, because they'll be, all the groupings of this will stay with this. It's just gonna kind of chunk together in its color groups because that's how it was dyed. Okay? This one, this guy here, this was done by taking this piece of comb top and splitting off little pieces. You see how I did that? All the way down. And I just kept splitting off pieces, probably about that thick. It was still thick enough that I could draft, so maybe about the size of a pencil roving. And so I split those up so that it's all bunched up, and you can still see some of the color variations, how they still came out variegated. But as you spin it together and ply it, a lot of that goes away. It ends up being a little bit more homogeneous, a little more Tweety or Heather-like over here than it is over in this bunch, where the colors are a little poppy, more distinct. So that's all I wanted to point out. Pre-drafting really changes what your outcome is. So if you're always pre-drafting, you're always getting something closer to this than you are to this. Somewhere in between if you're applying, because that's just how it is. But your colors won't be as blended if you don't pre-draft. So pre-drafting makes more blendy colors when you put it all together. Not pre-drafting keeps your colors a little bit more separated. Because as you can see, you know, I'm pulling this off. I'm going to have lighter, darker, lighter, lighter, darker, lighter, lighter, darker, lighter, lighter, darker, lighter in short sections, because these are short sections. Without pre-drafting, it's a bigger chunk of this color, bigger chunk of this color, bigger chunk of this color, and then a bigger chunk of this color. It affords me to not blend it as much. So think about that as you're working through. And this isn't going to be as drastic as, say, something that might turn what people like to call muddy. So this sort of muddied it up. If it was brown, it would certainly look muddy. And over here, the brown color would have more distinct shades of the brown that was in these samples, because there is a brown tonal. But if you were doing something that has multiple colors and the colors start to blend, this is why. If you're going to split your comb top all the time, split it up into smaller sections and spin from that, you're going to get more blending than you will if you spin straight from the top. Okay, so that's it. I just want to talk a little bit about the tonals and some different ways that they look, some ideas for you if you want to spin them. And as always, if you've got questions, pop in and ask them. And the blog post is going to have some links and more pictures. Okay, everybody. Bye-bye.